God tells you, your mission field is not out in the nations per se, but it's in the U.S.
Yep.
It's high schools.
Yep. Yeah,
How many
crazy.
high school students are there in the U.S.?
There's 15 million.
So you have a 15 million mission field.
And that rotates every 4 years. There's a new 15 million.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
And so I think it's I always say it's the only mission field in the world where you know what time the harvest gets there, what time they leave, what time they eat, and you can literally time it. Harvest is coming out 3, 2, 1, and so I mean it's the most convenient place to reach students. Students are there for 35 hours a week, 4 years, or their parents go to jail. It's real simple.
That's amazing. And I know that there's young people watching, or people that say, you know what, I feel a call. I have a call for missions, or I feel a call as a missionary, or I want to do this. I want to be able to preach about Jesus. I want to be able to bring church to my school. Like, I don't want the people I go to school with to go to hell, or not know about Jesus, or me have been there for 4 years, 3 years, depending on what school they go to, and say, I was never used. So I know that there's people watching right now, and they would like to know, well, how would I be able to go about that? What should I do?
I would say number one, don't compartmentalize your life. I feel like, when you compartmentalize your life, that's the beginning of hypocrisy. You have church you, family you, high school you. Like, who you are with the Lord, bring that everywhere you go. And also, don't despise the small things that God can do with and through you. I look at in John chapter 6, Jesus took the lunch of a boy and, multiplied it, and he changed history with the lunch. What could he do with your life? Wow. And so I would say, like, even if it's something as small as, like this kid fishing bread, like maybe you're like, man, I don't possess the greatest talents, but I can speak, a little bit, or I can share my story, or I can give away my lunch once a week. When I got saved and I was in high school, I would give away my lunch every single day. As a senior, after I got saved, I'd find someone who was hungry, and I would feed them under one condition, that I could talk to him. And so I would say, like, don't complicate the fact that you are a missionary for 4 years. You can take everything you're learning in your youth group and say, man, how do I go now re-communicate this to my friends in love?
So what I'm getting from what you're saying is not really a call to missionaries, is that you are a missionary.
Yeah.
You are a missionary.
Yeah, I think I think we're coming into a time now where people are realizing, the mission field is changing. Technology is changing the way we reach people. The mindset of missions before was, I got to go out and do it. And that is true. There are people that are called the nations, but man, our nation so needs God as well. With 4% Bible believing in America now, we've become, a mission field. There are nations now sending people to America because of the lack of the gospel here. Nations that we once sent missionaries, they're sending missionaries back here.
Wow.
And so, again, if you've ever heard of the Student Volunteer Missions Movement, it was a move of God that took place, in the States, where a guy named Robert Wilder rode on horseback, and he went to all the universities, and he called people to do missions, and he was able to gather in those early days 2,000 to give their lives to foreign missions. And I believe we're in another student volunteer missions movement, except it'll be the millennials and post-millennials. This generation that they say is the most selfish generation, that we would be the ones that say, God, here's our lives, take it. And for me, I'm 28 years old, I'm a millennial, born in 90s baby. Man, how incredible is it that I could be a missionary back into, the generation coming right after me.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, we would definitely love to see that in our nation, but I love the fact that the perspective has changed.
Yeah.
In other words, a missionary, like you said, is someone, traditionally speaking, someone that feels like, I have to go to Africa and I have to do these certain things which are needed, are important, and are very valued and esteemed.
Yeah.
But your perspective is, Jesus said you're the light of the world.
Yeah.
That in itself makes you a missionary.
Yes.
Wherever you go.
Absolutely.
And you're just targeting high schools.
Yep. And there's this person that said once, they took God out of schools, but they can't take you out of school. And you carry Jesus in your heart. That's and though awesome. On a government level in the 60s, they removed, the acknowledgement of God and Christianity being the religion of our nation, I think you're now, there was a 22-word prayer removed in the 60s, that you now get to bring in the lifestyle of Christ. And so, the devil always overplays his hand. And that's what happened in the 60s. He thought, man, I've removed God. But in fact, it's raised up a different hunger now in a generation that says, keep your 22-word prayer. I'm going to bring actually a lifestyle of Christ into my school.
You know, that's crazy because recently in our youth services, we had a series called 21st Century Jesus. And the revelation behind that message is usually when people think about Jesus, they look upon a chain, a cross, a candle, or a religious figure.
Yeah.
But when people should be thinking of Jesus, they should be thinking about you.
Yeah.
As a Jesus who can go to school every single day.
So good.
You know, so I definitely agree. I just have 3 questions.
Yeah.
My first question would be, if I'm not in school anymore, maybe I graduated high school or I'm in college right now, and I want to go and be able to do this. In other words, kind of like similar to what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Or if I'm in school and I want to open up a Jesus Club, you know, a house of peace, a Bible study in my school.
Yeah.
What should I do?
I would say for the one who's out of school, I want you to realize that you have the ability in your 20s to tithe more than just your money. You have the ability to tithe your 20s. And your 20s are some of the most influential years on a high school student, because if you remember in high school, who are the cool kids?
Yeah.
The college kids.
Yeah.
And so you have something called your youth that you will never be able to give later on in life that you can give. And so rather that's serving with and through your local church, coming to a training school to learn it. We do training schools, like whatever it would be, like you'd find an avenue to say, I'm gonna make my voice count in my 20s. I'll be 29 in October, and I'm so thankful that I've given my entire 20s to this, because you know what? I may not be this young, I may not be as relatable in my 30s, 40s, 50s, but I could say, looking back, that I gave my best years to missions